Hi, I'm Ken, and I want to present 5 principles that I believe will ignite or reignite your passion for fundraising. In fact, these 5 principles can be the foundation for a whole new approach to fundraising for both you and perhaps the organization you work for. If you stick to these principles, I believe there will be a total shift in how you approach your job, the success you will have in securing major and planned gifts, the joy your donors will have in making that gift, and the satisfaction and passion you will have as a fundraiser. But first, I want you to read something. This was written by a student telemarketer at a university, and we trained him to adopt these 5 principles and 5 more, which we'll get to down the road. Really take this different approach to fundraising. The challenge was he was being asked to go out and have face-to-face meetings with $100 a year annual donors and ask them for $1,000 to $10,000 gifts. So we trained him to adopt these principles and this approach to fundraising. Here's what he wrote. He said, you can actually have a conversation with somebody, and at the end, they are going to thank you for the opportunity to give. Everyone was so thankful that they made a donation to York University. I was like, wow, it opened my mind to a whole new career. I intend to pursue a career in fundraising because it does something for me. I love the feeling that I can contribute to a great organization like the school and facilitate great people doing things for a great cause. That was incredible for me. Signed by Ellen Magisha. And Ellen did become a very successful fundraiser. Do you feel the passion that Ellen realized that fundraising could hold? Let's turn to those principles. But before we do, I'm Ken. This is my channel, Empowerment Dialogue for Fundraisers. Empowerment Dialogue. Dedicated to empowering all fundraisers to empower donors to realize their philanthropic dreams. That's the reason for this channel. In it, we want to address all challenges and solutions to help us be better at our jobs, and I might say, develop or rekindle the passion for those jobs. This is a collaborative effort. I've been 30 years in this business, but I have lots to learn. I need to hear from you. I need your feedback, your input, your questions. Now, let's look at the first principle. Every donor or prospect counts. What do we mean by this? There's a core belief that assumes that generosity and concern for others exists in everyone unless we find out otherwise. So our starting point is to believe that every prospective donor has goodness in her or his heart to help make the world a better place. It's our starting position until proven otherwise. If we believe that, it shifts the whole value structure of fundraising, of the whole fundraising team, in fact, and is the bedrock of any successful major or planned giving program. Therefore, our jobs are to nurture and empower everyone. Don't prejudge anyone. Interact with the utmost integrity to bring out the best in all prospects with the same respect for each, asking the overarching question, what do they really want to do? That is our jobs. How do we make sure that every prospect counts. To do that, we'll look at the second principle. Fundraising at its best is a dialogue. A dialogue. We say this because meaningful interaction with each prospect is best done through dialogue. A two-way interaction. Remember what our donors want, what they tell us, what research tells us they want. Skillful dialogue will allow the donor prospect to fully express the desire they have to make an impact and further the mission of the cause they care about. Dialogue is the best way to do that. At the same time, dialogue allows the fundraiser the opportunity to lead the conversation. And this is an extremely powerful tool. So fundraising at its best is a dialogue. And how do we do this? We have to accept the next principle. Prospective donors must be empowered and not convinced. We recently did a survey with a wide variety of fundraisers, asking what their concerns were when working one-on-one with prospects. Here's the question we asked. What are the challenges you experience when it comes to asking for a gift? Here were their choices, offered to roughly 2,500 fundraisers in North America. Here's where their choices. I don't know how to ask for a gift. I'm afraid of talking to prospects and donors and making the ask. I don't want to be seen as manipulating or misleading people to get a gift. I don't know enough about the tax and structural aspects of securing a gift. And finally, I worry about not knowing the technical details of fundraising and gift options. Those were the choices offered. How did they respond? Well, it was overwhelming. 90% of respondents, and there were a lot of them, agreed or strongly agreed that they don't want to be seen as manipulating or misleading anybody. 90% of all respondents. Much less at 28% agreeing or strongly agreeing, saying, I don't know about the tax and structural aspects of securing a gift. The other options were much below that. I don't know how to ask for a gift. Not a big concern. I'm afraid of talking to people in asking for a gift. Not a concern. I worry about not knowing the technical details. Not a great concern. So overwhelmingly, fundraisers don't want to be seen as manipulating or misleading people to get a gift. So the solution is clear. We should never try to convince a prospective donor to do what they wholeheartedly don't want to do. This redefines our job. Our jobs are, therefore, to find out what they wholeheartedly want to do. So you can see how this is starting to reshape what our jobs are as fundraisers in face-to-face fundraising. Instead, commit to enabling every individual to discover what they want to do and help them do it. Find out what they want to do and help them do it. That is our job as a fundraiser, to be a facilitator. Where do we start to do this? We have to turn to principle number 4. All dialogues should be structured to discover what the prospect feels about the mission of the organization and the case for support. Research has clearly shown that the overwhelming reason Philanthropic gifts are made to further the cause of a charitable organization is to have the gift make a specific impact for that cause. So the place to start with any gift is to start talking about why people care about the cause, which is the mission of the organization. Very clearly, if people don't buy into the mission of your organization, there won't be a gift. Oh, there's exceptions. Some people make gifts for slightly other reasons, sometimes peer pressure, sometimes there's business opportunities or whatever. However, overwhelmingly, the main reason is people care about the cause and want to further the cause. Secondly, not far behind, is how their gift will impact that cause. That's called the case for support. If the prospect states that these two vital reasons for the gift and states them in their own words, that's critical. That is, if the prospective donor states the buy-in to the mission and the concern and care for the case for support and states it in their own words, they will own that as their own. It starts to make clear what our jobs are, and that is to get the prospective donor to state both the mission of the organization in their own words, how they see the mission, and the case for support in their own words, and that is critical to create every philanthropic gift. That can be very powerful. But again, it starts to redefine our jobs. Our jobs are to pull out what's in the donor and do it professionally, with respect, with integrity. How can we make this even more powerful? We'll turn to principle number 5. Emotions and the feelings are the source of all gifts. I've been taken on many times by other fundraisers on this very point. I even had someone say, no, our job is to present a business case. And you hear that from time to time. However, I'm sitting here and saying, no, emotions are ultimately behind every gift. There's always an emotional element. Why? Because we spend our lives accumulating assets. And thus it's fundamentally illogical to give those assets away. There must be an emotional driver to do so. So to do our jobs as fundraisers, do it well and with passion, we have to get into that wonderful world of emotions. Oftentimes, the prospect is even unaware of the underlying emotions or feeling behind the desire to make a gift. There are powerful techniques to have the prospect reveal to themselves and to the fundraiser, but critically to themselves, the emotions behind those rational thoughts. This self-revelation, why do I care so much? And you can see how this is shaping up as a fundraiser. You simply say, why do you care so much? You've been a generous donor. Why do you care so much? Part of that technique is for the prospect to reveal to themselves how they feel. When they say those words, well, I care so much because it will cement the statement that the prospect makes about the mission and the case. And down the road, all the other elements in the decision-making process. That is the technique that makes this approach so powerful. So what techniques do we employ to have a meaningful conversation? Well, we're going to defer principles 6 to 10 to the next video. At this point, I'm just going to remind people there's a subscribe button down in the corner, and please give us a thumbs up as well as subscribing. We want to create the dialogue about fundraising. It's time we all did it, put it all on the table, and this channel is dedicated to that. And by subscribing and giving a thumbs up, you help YouTube develop that channel for fundraisers. How living these 5 principles that we've just gone through, how will that ignite your passion for fundraising? So let's just sum up here how far we've come so far. Here's the first one. See if this doesn't make you more passionate about your work. You get to work honestly, right from the heart. I'm doing a future video about fundraising, and I'm titling it, I'll tell you ahead, I'm titling it, How Do You Tell Your Grandmother That You're a Fundraiser? Are you ashamed of being a fundraiser? Are you proud of being a fundraiser? Sometimes our industry has a bad name. These principles, these first 5 principles, allow you to work honestly. And that is a value that must be secured if you want to tell your grandmother proudly you are a fundraiser. You work with care for the prospect or donor and for the organization you represent. So this is how you get to be passionate about your job. Now, your job is to be caring. You work with integrity, without conflict about what your job is. You're never trying to manipulate or convince anybody. Okay, you can tell your grandmother that. You will be very successful. You follow these principles and the ones that are coming up, and you'll be very successful in major and planned giving and securing those types of gifts, and donors will thank you for helping them make those gifts, just as Ellen Magisha made that statement that I showed at the beginning. You won't ever feel obligated to maintain sometimes insincere social interactions with prospects. Think of the times you've had to be a little insincere in socializing with prospects. No. If you absorb these principles and live them, you'll never feel obligated to being insincere at all. You'll never be apologetic in asking for a gift. Think about that. You can see how you can start to be passionate about what you do. You'll work relaxed, always in control, because you know where you're going and what you're trying to achieve. It will be up to the prospective donor to make the decision to make the gift. That can be done. Follow these principles. You'll never feel you have to convince or manipulate anyone to make a gift. Just eliminate that. 90% of fundraisers in that survey said that was their biggest concern. Here's the principles to totally avoid that. So those are the benefits of living these principles. We have another 5 principles, which we'll go into in a subsequent video. I'm hopeful that you're starting to see, by living your job as a fundraiser differently, you can start to get passionate about what you do. I believe fundraising is one of the noblest professions. But we have to do it the right way. We have to do it with integrity. These 5 principles are a start to do just that. I'll see you in the next video.